welcome to Operation Remote Resilience. Thank you for joining me. My name's Aron. I'm a certified Warriors at Ease teacher. And today I'm going to be leading you through an all levels yoga flow that's designed to help you bring your attention and focus into the body and be mindful of what you're sensing. If you want to go ahead and grab a mat or a blanket or a towel, we're going to be working a lot on the floor to start. If you have any blocks, that's great. You don't necessarily need them. And if you want to change your angles like I am with a block, you can use a pillow too, or maybe a book. And also, again, if you want to use a strap or something like that, you can. It doesn't have to be anything special. Mine is from an old robe. And if you don't have anything, that's fine too. I'll give you some options where you don't need to have anything, or if you have some little things to change your angles, you can use them. All right, so let's begin. We're going to start on our backs today. So go ahead and try to get centered, and we'll start either with our knees bent, or you can stretch them out long, whatever feels better for you. And we'll take a few minutes just to get centered and focused. Begin our practice together. You can let your eyes soften and be at ease. You can even close them if you want. Putting aside any worries or concerns about the past or the future. See if you can get focused on what's really actually happening in this moment. Using your senses. Notice what you see and hear, smell and taste. Noticing what you feel physically about being in this space. Maybe you notice the surface below you. Perhaps you can feel air on your skin. And allowing that awareness to move into sensing the body itself. So noticing the skin and then going deeper, noticing the muscles, the bones, the joints, the organs. And as you bring awareness to the body, if you need to make any adjustments, move around a little bit, you're welcome to do that. Remembering, even though I'm guiding you through this, the practice is yours. So you can modify or rest or make any changes you need to this practice so that it works for you. And let's bring awareness to the breath. Notice how the body breathes all on its own. You might notice the chest and belly rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. You may notice the breath moving past the nostrils or the lips as you breathe. And if it's helpful you to feel this, if you want, you could even put one hand on your belly or one hand on your heart. And you can stay with your natural breathing rhythm, or if you want to, you can do a couple rounds of 3-part breath with me. And we'll start with the next inhale, and inhale deep into the lungs so that the belly starts to expand. And then keep inhaling into the middle part of the lungs so the ribs expand, and keep inhaling into the top part of the lungs so the chest expands. And then we let it go in the opposite order. So exhale, let the chest soften. Continue to exhale, let the ribs soften. Continue to exhale, let the belly draw back to the spine. Lungs are empty of air. Let's do that again. Inhale, belly. Inhale, ribs. Inhale, heart. Exhale, heart. Exhale, ribs. Exhale, belly. Maybe once more. Inhale, navel. Ribs. Heart. Exhale, heart. wrist, navel. And if you joined me for that breathing practice, go ahead and release that control. Let your body come back to breathing its natural rhythm. We're going to start to add some movement to warm up a little bit. So let's draw our knees towards our chest. And hands can rest on the knees. Right now, our elbows are soft, our knees are drawing in towards the chest, and you may notice that your low back is flattened towards the mat and your tailbone is lifted up off the mat. And we're going to inhale and straighten the elbows, push the knees away, and now you may notice that that low back starts to arch up a little bit, tailbone rocks down. Exhale, let's pull the knees back in. Inhale, push the knees away. Go ahead and do that a few times on your own. You can go at your own rhythm. Your breath may be at a different pace than mine. Let your movement match the pace of your natural breath. Maybe one more time. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then we're going to keep that right knee in and put that left leg down. So we can put the left foot on the mat with the left knee bent, or you can stretch the left leg out. Right now, I'm hugging my knee. I'm going to give you a couple options here. You can bring the hand behind that right thigh, or if you do have a strap, you could put the strap right underneath the ball of the foot. Take either end in your hands. So either way is fine. And then we can start to lengthen through the heel. Don't worry if that leg doesn't get perfectly straight. Go to where you can feel maybe some sensation in the back of the leg. As you start to lengthen through it. And then pause there and breathe into that. So again, that can look like this. See if you can let the arms rest on the mat here, the upper arms. Or, again, if you don't have a strap, you can grab the back of the leg and lengthen through the heel. And you can even use the breath here. Maybe inhale, really think about flexing those toes towards the knee and lengthening through the heel. That's going to straighten the leg a little. And then as you exhale, you can soften that. Let the knee bend a little. Maybe pull the thigh a little closer in towards the chest. And then you can use the breath like that. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to soften and deepen. And again, you can do that with or without the strap. Let's do one more breath. One more inhale. One more exhale. If you are using the strap, put both ends of the strap in the right hand. Left hand can stay on the mat next to your side, palm down to give you a little counterbalance. And we'll open that right leg out to the right. It doesn't have to be super far. You don't have to try to make it all the way down to the earth. Just changing that angle in your hip joints a little bit. And then do the same thing. Inhale to lengthen through the heel. Exhale to soften. Maybe pull that a little deeper so you're compressing that right hip joint a little more. And again, if you don't have that strap, right hand can be behind the leg, left hand still out to the side for counterbalance. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to soften and deepen. Maybe pull that knee a little bit towards that right shoulder. Go ahead and do this a few times at your own pace, using your breath. And then inhale, let's come back to the center. Give that right knee a hug. And then we'll send that leg out long. Take a moment to breathe here at both legs, resting. And just notice how the right side feels compared to the left side. Bringing that awareness into the body. Noticing if there's any differences between right and left. There may be, there may not be. Whatever you experience is perfect, just the way it is. But we are going to do both sides. So let's draw the left knee in. Give it a little hug. And then Hands, again, can come behind the right thigh, or the left thigh rather this time, or you can use that strap. And use the breath here. Lengthen through the heel, flex the toes as you inhale. Exhale, soften, deepen through that hip crease. Let's take a few breaths here. Last one like that. One more inhale, one more exhale. Let that knee soften. Again, if you don't want to use a strap, your left hand can stay behind the left thigh, right hand comes out to balance. And you can open out to the left through that hip joint. Or if you do want to use a strap, straps at the ball of the foot. Both ends will go into the left hand, right arm's counterbalancing, and then you can open to the left. And we'll do the same thing. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften and deepen. Maybe one more breath here. One more inhale, one more exhale. Let's bring that leg back to the middle, soften the knee. Give it a hug. Then we can hug the other knee in. Maybe rock a little side to side, give that low back a massage. And then we're going to come up to seated. You can roll to your side and press up with your hands, or if you like rocking and rolling to come up, you can rock forward and back until you're seated. All right. And let's come to about the middle of our mat and think about where our sits bones are, those bony parts of our seat. And root them down to the earth and try to lengthen through the spine so that we're sitting up tall. Right now my knees are soft. You can even bend them more if you need to. And then we're going to start to extend them, but keeping the spine long. Hands can be at your side for a little support. If you notice while you straighten the legs that you start to round through the back, then soften the knees as much as you need to so that you can lengthen up through the spine. If you need to lean back a little bit, that's fine too. And again, this is a good place where if you have a book or a block or a firm pillow, a rolled up blanket, whatever you have, if you bring your hips up to the mat, up to the block or up to whatever you're using, sometimes changing the angle a little will let you sit up tall and lengthen through the legs. And we're going to keep those legs active. We're going to flex the feet so the pinky toes are pointing right up to the sky. This is a staff pose. And even though we're seated, this can be a really challenging posture. We're making sort of an L shape with the body. To keep the spine long, you'll need to use some of these muscles around the trunk of your body. So you may feel some firmness here, drawing back on the muscles in your abdomen towards the spine. Let's take one or two more breaths here in this staff pose. And then we're going to fold forward. So when we fold forward, we're going to hinge through those hip creases and we're going to use our core. So as we fold forward, we're using our abdominal muscles. So we're pulling them in and that's how we're hinging forward. And again, if you need to bend the knees a little bit here, that's fine. Hands can be on the mat. They can be on the legs. And if you do like using a strap, you could even put the strap at the bottom of your feet and fold forward. But try to avoid using your arms to yank yourself deeper. See if you can bring that awareness into letting that core strength, the muscles in your abdomen, help you fold deeper. And let's take one or two breaths here. I know I'm feeling this on the back of my legs. You might feel it someplace else. One more breath. Inhale, let's come back up. Maybe shake that out a little. And then I'm going to come off my block. You can stay on yours. But this next bit, I like to have my seat a little lower. We're actually going to let the knees open up out to the side. And the soles of the feet come together into a cobbler's pose. So I'm not pulling my heels in really close to my pelvis here. I'm leaving this long so that my legs are making sort of a loose diamond shape, because once again, I want to find that sensation that I'm sitting up tall. Can you feel those sits bones on the earth? Can you feel those muscles around the trunk of your body drawing in so that your spine is long? Let's let the top of the shoulders be at ease. Inhale here. And then when we exhale, we're going to pull the belly in and fold forward, bringing the chest, like we're trying to bring the chest to the heels. And again, you can slide your hands forward. Just try not to use your hands to come into this fold. Use that core strength. Let's take a couple breaths here. Inhale, let's sit up. Bring our hands behind us. And draw the shoulder blades together, lift through the chest. So we've been folding forward a lot. We're going to do a little counter pose and open up through the front body. And exhale, release. I'm going to turn for this next part because I want to have you get a better view. So we're going to keep that right leg bent and stretch that left leg out in front. You can bring that right foot in a little closer to your pelvis if you want. Right foot's pressing against the left leg. We're going to keep those left pinky toes pointing up to the sky. And remember, if you need to bend that left knee a little bit, go ahead. Sitting up tall. And then exhale, we're going to hinge forward through that left hip crease. Hands can slide down your leg. And grab the bottom of your foot. And again, if you like using a strap, you could even use a strap here. If it feels awkward having the strap on the bottom of your foot, or if you just want to change the sensation, sometimes it's nice to put the block here. Put the strap around the block. You could do this with a book if you didn't have a block. And then you can pull the strap against the block so it's not pulling up against your foot. Now that whole block is pressing against your foot. And it just changes the sensation. So feel free to play with this. See how this feels. Ooh, that just changed everything in the back of my leg. I'm feeling this a lot differently. And then let's inhale, come back up. And we can come to the other side. So we're going to bend the left knee, straighten the right leg, bring that left foot to the inside of the right leg. Right foot is flexed, sit up tall, inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, let's fold. Again, any of those options. I'm going to use that block again because I want to be even on both sides. That was a really nice sensation when I did that on the other side. Inhale, let's sit up again. Release that. Move any of your gear to the side. We're going to come all the way over onto our hands and knees. And then we'll make our way up to standing for a couple minutes. So right now I'm in a tabletop with my wrists underneath my shoulders. But I'm going to slide the hands forward just a little bit so the wrists are in front of the shoulders. That's going to change that angle on the shoulder joint. I'm going to spread my fingertips wide. Knees right now are under my hips. I'm going to tuck my toes under. And then lift the knees up. So the knees are floating there a little bit. Let's push the front of the mat away. Bring the chest towards the thighs. Hips are high. We're in an inverted V. And then you can start to bring the heels down towards the mat. We're in a downward facing dog. As you bring your heels to the mat, your knees are going to lift, your legs are going to straighten. When you do that, if you notice that you start to round through the back and shift your weight forward, almost like you're coming into a plank, then bend the knees enough that you can bring the chest towards the thighs. So just like when we were sitting in that staff pose, better to have soft knees and a long spine here. That's what we want to feel. than to straighten your legs so much that you round the spine. Let's take one more breath. Bend the knees even more. Look at the fingertips. Step hands and feet together. Step the feet apart a little bit. Hands can be on the mat or a block, or you could press them against the front of your legs. Let's let our whole body fold forward. You can even grab the elbows and let gravity help you here. And if having your head below your heart makes you feel dizzy, then don't bring your head below your heart. Bend your knees, lower your hips. You can use your hands on top of your thighs, just above your knees to support you. So go ahead and modify this so that you feel supported and safe and still get some openness in the back of the body. You can even sway a little, or maybe shake the head yes, or shake the head no. And then let's all soften our knees a little bit more, drop our hips a little bit more, bring our hands to the hip creases, press into the heels, activate the thighs, use those thighs to come up to standing. Let's shake that out. And let's bring the feet to hips distance. I'm going to come forward a little bit. You might need to come forward a little bit because we're going to step back into a lunge in just a moment. So make sure that you've moved any gear off your mat so you don't trip over it. Let's find that mountain pose for just a moment. Settle in here. Feel the soles of our feet on the earth. Big toes, the outside edges, the heels, press them down. Feel the legs activate. Feel those muscles and that energy move up to the sides of the body so the spine is long, through the top of the head. Arms are at ease at the sides, belly of the arms forward. Our forehead is soft, our jaw is soft, our shoulders are soft, our chest is open. Shoulder blades drifting down the back, even the knees are at ease. Just a little bit of softness there so they're not locked out. Inhale, let's reach arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, back bend. And exhale, let's hinge through the hips and fold. And inhale, let's come halfway up for a moment. Long spine here. Kind of like our staff pose, we're in that L shape. If you need to bend the knees, go ahead to get that spine long. And then soften the knees even more. Press to the heels. Inhale, back to mountain. We're going to shift our weight into the left foot. Pick up the right foot and step it back into a lunge. So our left knee is over our left ankle. Right now, the back heel is lifted. We're on the ball of the foot. We're squeezing through that right thigh. We're in a crescent lunge. See if you can avoid that tendency to close off in the chest. Can you open through the chest? One more breath here. We're going to change this just a little bit. We're going to pivot that back foot so the toes open a little bit out to the right. Not necessarily pointing all the way to the right, kind of like you're pointing past the front right corner of the mat. And right now our body is going to stay, our torso stays facing the front here. Same direction as our left toes. And for me, it's awkward to do that sometimes if my back heel is lined up with the front heel. So if you need to give yourself a little more room to rotate, and that has more to do with the construction of your hips than it does flexibility. So don't worry about that if you need to make that adjustment. We're all just designed a little bit differently. All right, let's take one more breath here. We're pressing all the way through the outside edge and the heel of that back foot. Notice what that does when you really press down. It helps you lift the knee, helps you open through this hip crease. Let's take one more breath and then inhale with that breath. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale, we're going to bring the hands behind the back, and you can rest them on the back of the hips, or you could interlace the fingers, or you could grab your wrists or elbows. You could even use a strap there and grab a strap between your hands. That front knee is still bent. We haven't straightened that front leg. And then exhale, we're going to fold forward, and then we're going to shift just a little bit so that we're inside that left knee. If your hands are interlaced, you can have them over your head. If you need to put them down for a little support, go ahead. But see if you can keep the chest open. One more breath here, and then we'll all release our hands down. Start to straighten that front leg. So we're folded over that front leg, and again, You can have your hands on the mat, or you could use a block here, or you could use the front of your leg. Just watch that knee so that you don't lock it out. That's why I like to use a block. I'm less likely to do that. One more breath. Let's soften that front knee. Pivot through the back foot. So we're back on the ball of the foot. Sit up tall or stand up tall. Maybe bounce a little bit here and step forward back to mountain. Once again, take that chance here to notice what you're sensing. Sense one side and then the other. And then let's go ahead and switch sides. So inhale, step the left foot back. Bend the right knee. We'll start in that crescent lunge, squeezing the front of the thigh to keep that knee lifted. Sitting up, standing up tall. Arms are at ease at our sides. Get settled in here and then pivot that back foot. Keep the body facing the front. Maybe wiggle that right foot out a little bit to give those hips a little more room. We'll keep that back leg strong by pressing through the outside edge and the heel. Take a couple breaths. Notice this variation, and then we'll, on the next inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, reach hands behind. Use those hands to open the chest. Inhale. And with that open chest, we're going to fold forward and tilt just a little bit to the inside of that right knee. Release the arms. Hands can come to the mat or a block as we start to straighten that front leg into a forward fold. Soften that knee. Pivot through the back foot, come up tall again. Maybe get a little energy going to step back to mountain, shake that out. We're all done standing. We're going to get back to the mat in just a moment. Let's bring the feet wide, toes wider than the heels. Inhale, big breath up. Exhale, bring hands to the back of the hips, and we can place the hands on the back of the hips, just like we're about to put our fingers in the pockets of our pants. Draw the shoulder blades back towards each other. Draw the elbows back towards each other. Lift the chest. Let the hips come forward. We're in a standing camel. So again, little counter pose to all that forward folding. Inhale, back up tall. Release the arms. Slide them down the legs as we fold forward. Soften the knees. Hands to the mat. Let's bend the knees even more, come all the way down to the mat. And then onto our back. We've got just enough time to cool off just a little bit, and then we can rest. Once you're on your back, go ahead and draw your knees in towards your chest. Once again, if you want to rock a little bit, you can. Bring hands behind the thighs and start to lift the soles of the feet towards the sky. So once again, we're in this L shape. We've been here several times today, just in different angles. You can flex the toes towards the knees. Don't worry if the knees don't come perfectly straight. You can even do this as a movement. Soften as you exhale, inhale and lengthen. You could use your hands behind your thighs for support, or they could come down to the mat. You could even use a block here. When your knees are bent, you can lift your seat up a little bit, place that block just under your hips. So not under the back, a little lower than that, just under the hips, where your waistband of your pants usually hits. And then you could lengthen. And again, just notice how that little shift in the angle changes how this is experienced. You can even do this against a wall if you want. Have a wall supporting the back of your legs. Feel free to stay here for a couple breaths. And then I'm going to have us bend our knees. If you are using that block, draw it out of your way. Both feet on the mat. Crossing right ankle over left knee. We're making a figure 4 with the legs. You can stay here just like this. Or if you want, you can lift the left foot up. Hug the legs in a little closer, maybe make a little movement. Almost ready to rest. So if there's any movements that you feel like you need to make, now is a good time to do it so that you're able to be at ease. That left foot is lifted. Let's bring it down. Take the arms out to the sides, and the legs are going to fall over to the left. So we're going to keep our shoulder blades rooted down. You will lift the hip up. And don't worry if those legs don't come all the way to the earth on the left side. You could even use a block here to support them if you feel weird from kind of floating. Maybe a little more restful to have them on a block or a blanket or a pillow. Inhale, you can come back to the middle, and we'll switch sides. Left ankle over right knee. Here, or you can, again, hug them in a little closer if that feels good. Right foot comes back down if it's lifted. Arms come out to the side, and we can twist here. Inhale back to the center, left foot comes down. If there's any other movement or shape that you want to come into, feel free to do that. When you're ready to, go ahead and rest for a few minutes here. So go ahead and find a posture where you feel supported and at ease for the next few minutes. You can let your eyes soften and be at ease. You can even close them if you want. If you've been controlling your breath during our physical practice, let that control go and let your body breathe its natural rhythm again. Noticing there's nothing you need to do. The body breathes all on its own. Breath coming and going without any additional effort. Also, becoming aware of anything you're experiencing now, any thoughts, images, sounds, emotions, sensations. Noticing how all those experiences come and go, rising and falling with your awareness, just like the breath rises and falls in the body. There's nothing you need to do. This is your time to rest. Letting everything be just as it is. Rest here as long as you'd like. You are ready to come back to your day. You can make small movements and stretch. You can deepen your breath or take a deep breath and let it go with a sigh. Reflect on your practice. Notice how you feel, and notice if there's anything from your practice that you want to take with you into your daily life or into your next practice. And give yourself some gratitude for taking time for your health and wellness today. I thank you for sharing your practice with me and for joining us at Operation Remote Resilience. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. This video will be available to the public shortly on the Warriors of Ease YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any of our classes. And if you get a chance, visit the link in the description below and consider making a donation so that we can continue to make these practices free for all. It's viewers like you that make it possible for teachers like me to provide these services. So thank you once again. This is Aron signing off with health, resilience, and connection.